Hello, everybody. It's Stephen here for The Idiot Quilter, and welcome to my weekly episode number 315. Had to think about that for a minute. Yes, it's episode 315, and it is July the 1st, 2025. Happy Canada Day to all of my fellow Canadians. Yes, woo! And hopefully this will not be our last Canada Day, if you get my drift. Okay, so moving right along, and it won't be our last Canada Day. Moving right along. Bits and pieces. Yeah, that's what I called the episode, and this is why. Because this is the Bits and Pieces tote bag from Sweet Pea. I'd like to say I enjoyed making this. I will tell you I did not. I will tell you I did not for, well, one reason. Basically, it was getting the bag bottom done. This was weird. Well, first of all, the bag is done on point. So you make all of these blocks and you sew them all together, and they give you a diagram as to the way it's supposed to be laid out. And you have this weird looking thing that has pointy ends to it, and that's the bottom of the bag. And then by some great manipulation, kind of like tying it in a knot, you put certain edges together and sew them down, and that gives you the bottom of the bag. It was very confusing. I have never done anything quite like this before, and the instructions were, well, to be fair, I don't know how you write instructions for something like this. This is something you almost need to see somebody do in person, unless you've done this kind of thing before, and I had not. But I managed to make it work, and I had a couple little boo-boos, which I was able to fix as well. Overall, yeah, I'm not that impressed. I was more impressed with it when I saw it, the pictures of it on the Sweet Pea site. But I have it done. It is a fully lined bag as well. It's a fairly big bag, too. So yeah, that offsets the difficulty in making it. And I'm sure if I was ever to make another one again, and I'm not going to, I would have less problems with it, because now once I've done it once, I see how it all goes together. So anyways, that's done. And if you're interested in this particular pattern, I got it on sale, 50% off. But I don't know if it's still on sale or not, but there's a link for it in the show notes below. And the other project, well, on Sunday, on Stephen and Walter Live, I want to show this to you. And we had a little technical difficulty. I'm still working on that technical difficulty. I don't know why. It's working fine today. Why it wouldn't work on the live to switch my screens, I don't know. But this is what I started to talk about. And then Walter informed me that no one could see it on the screen. So, yeah. This is the quilt I'm making for my sister. Now, originally, this started out as being a quilt of valor, and it probably will be. In fact, I've got an idea for just adding something to it that'll make it a little bit different from this. But anyway, she liked this pattern, so I ran with it. That was easy. And I have started working on it, and here's what it's looking like right now on my design wall. Not like much, okay? My design wall isn't big enough to get full rows across. So what I have to do is I put up 9 of the blocks per row. And then when I'm ready to sew that row, I take it down, lay it out on my table, on my cutting mat, and add the other 2 blocks. And then I'm sewing the rows together as I go, kind of a thing. So up here you can see I've got the first 2 rows all sewn together. It's a little bit off screen here. As I said, the design wall isn't big enough to accommodate it. So I think it's going to turn out pretty nice when I get it done. It's a pretty easy pattern. I wrote the pattern. I used EQ8, and I've mentioned that in the past. And yeah, I mean, if you can make half square triangles, you can make this, because it's really quick and easy. And each one of those blocks works out to 6 inches finished. So yeah, it's simple, it's fast. It's a little boring when you're sewing it, because it's the same thing over. But if you wanted a quick quilt, this one will do it. Now, will I post a pattern for this? I haven't decided yet. I mean, really, you could look at it and make your own. you know, is just, like I said, half square triangles and squares. So it's very easy, but we'll see. We'll see down the road. So there's that, and that's all I have to show you there. So let's go back to me. Okay, so that's what I have been up to. So announcement, Sewing with Stephen this Wednesday as usual, 9 a.m. Eastern Time to 5 p.m. Eastern Time. All are welcome. Work on whatever you want. Come, have fun. Come and go. Okay. But my next pop-up sew day is my birthday bash pop-up sew day, listed as Stephen's birthday bash pop-up sew day. Say that fast 5 times. It is on Saturday, July the 12th. So it's not this weekend coming at the time of this recording. It is the next weekend. And next week, in the show notes for everything I put up, there will be a link for the Zoom, because it is a Zoom for anybody that's new to one of my pop-up sew days. It is not a YouTube Live. It is a Zoom, and it is not recorded. So you don't have to worry about that. And what makes the pop-up sew day for my birthday special is that there are prezzies. Yes. Not for me, for you. Presents for you. Yes. There'll be draws for prizes. I have not worked out what those prizes are going to be yet, but I will get that worked out very soon. So stay tuned. Okay, so last week on So Chatty, I did a thing about how to use EQ8. I called it EQ8 for Dummies. That's Electric Quilt 8 for anybody who's not sure of what I'm talking about. A program that helps you to design your quilts. It is a very, well, it's not very user-friendly, the program. It's been around for years in various, EQ1, EQ2, that kind of stuff. And I have been using it off and on for the last few years, but I really am not an expert about it, and that's what I said in the video I made. But I had several people request tutorials on how to use it. So I did not put up a tutorial. I put up more or less an overview and showed you how I use the most basic parts of it to design my quilt, because I am a very, very basic user of EQ8. I have bought books. There are lots of videos on YouTube that will take you into various parts of EQ8 and show you how to use it. The biggest problem with EQ8 is you need to use it on a really regular basis in order to, learn it. If you're only an occasional user like I am, then it's like starting all over again, just because I haven't had the practice. So, yeah. So if you haven't seen that video yet, but you're interested in EQ8, just beware that it is not a tutorial. It's basically just how I use it. And the way I use it may not be the way it should be used, but it works for me. Okay, so that takes me to Subscribers Quilt of the Week. And this comes from someone who is a good friend of the channel and of me, and that's Heidi Morale. And here is her beautiful creation. This week's quilt from a subscriber comes from Heidi Morale, who is a friend of the channel, and we have seen her lovely creations before, and she is a hand quilter. So Heidi submits this one for us to view, and she says, I finished the wedding quilt, the Big Johnston, on May the 29th and attended the wedding on June the 7th. No pressure. It is 100 inches long by 108 inches wide, king-sized, and took me 3.5 months to quilt by hand. I do not track the hours spent. That sounds like work. My husband took the photos for my portfolio with his fancy Nikon DSLR. I do hope the youngins slow down on the wedding announcements. I need a break. Well, Heidi, I can see why you need a break, because the detail in your quilting, and all done by hand, is spectacular. It really makes this quilt pop, and I'm sure that the people receiving this as a wedding gift are going to be appreciative of this for the rest of their lives, hopefully, because this is a work of art. So thank you for submitting this. And I am accepting your pictures of your beautiful creations to feature here on Idiot Quilter. So send me just one picture of a creation and write a very short little blurb about it, less than 50 words, and I will be happy to post it here on a future episode of the Idiot Quilter. Okay, so that takes me to YouTube of the week. And of course, we all have tons of scraps, and there are tons of videos out there about how to use your scraps to create, well, basically more scraps. Because, we think we're using up our scraps when we use up our scraps, but we still have scraps left over, and possibly a few more. So this is called the easiest scrap quilt ever. This week's YouTube clip comes from a channel called Revelation Quilts, which I have never really watched before and just discovered. And I discovered this particular video called Easiest Scrap Quilt Ever. You can make this today. And she is right. You can make this today. And what makes this really cool as a scrap quilt is that oftentimes we're just putting pieces together randomly for it and hoping for the best. Well, this one, she puts the pieces together randomly, but the way she lays it out makes a main pattern and a secondary pattern, and I thought this was really cool. And if you have a charm pack or several charm packs laying around, this is a way to use those up as well. You can make it as scrappy as you want, or you can go into the designer mode, and she shows you how to do all of that in this video. So if you're looking for another idea, or as I would call it, a palette cleanser, then you want to check out this video from Revelation Quilts called Easiest Scrap Quilt Ever. And so a future project is another pattern by Juicy Juice. I'm sorry, I've been having a run on Juicy Juice patterns, but I love them and they're free and I got to get to work on them. But this one's another one, and it's called Francesca's Garden Quilt. This week's future project is another Juicy Juice design, which I'm really into these days. And this is called Francesca's Garden Quilt. And you can see that this would be a wonderful quilt, no matter what kind of fabrics that you used. It looks like it's very complicated, but I think it's very simple because it's basically a series of half square triangles and 9 patches. So you couldn't find something much easier than that, but it has this spectacular look to it. It is a free pattern, and I've put the link in the show notes for you. And you can see the instructions show you how easy this is to sew. So it's probably a fairly fast quilt as well. And I think, too, this might make a really cool scrappy quilt because those pieces are not that big, and it might be a scrap buster as well. But either way, I think the final product you would be very happy with. And because Juicy Juice often does more modern looking quilts, this one has a more traditional feel to it as well. So for those of you that aren't into the modern, don't dismiss Juicy Juice. He has patterns for everybody. So check this one out, Francesca's Garden Quilt, designed by Juicy Juice. And that brings me to what's twisting my seams this week. Well, thank you. Several of you have sent me in pictures of for this segment of my episode, and you have explained why you picked these particular patterns for me to look at and put up here. And yeah, so this comes from Carol Wolf, and it's called Meadow Waltz. And here's what this is all about. So this week, we have some What's Twisting Your Seams fabric and pattern from Carol Wolf. And she sends in this stash find and says, here's what's twisting your seams fabric and pattern. It's Meadow Waltz fabric by Kansas Troubles, which was my palette and style around 2005. I have always loved paisley, so I haven't given up on making this quilt someday, but my current style is more Tulip Pink than Kansas Troubles. I recently saw Meadow Waltz labeled vintage fabric on Etsy. Yeah, it does have a vintage look to it. It has a 1930s sort of reproduction vibe to it as well. And isn't it funny how our tastes do change? Because you bought this back in 2005, and now you're into Tulip Pink. And so it seems to me like your taste, as everybody's taste, has evolved since then. However, I really like this fabric. It is what I would traditionally call old lady fabric, and I mean that in the kindest way possible. To me, it's got that real vintage look to it, and I actually think I have a few pieces of this in my own stash too. I've come to have a new appreciation for this style of fabric in recent months. So what's old to you is kind of new to me, and I sure a lot of people probably feel the same way when they see what people pull out of their stash and haven't thought about for a long time. So thank you, Carol. You're my first subscriber to send me something for Twisted Seams. And if you would like to get in on the Twisted Seams boat ride, so to speak, then please send me a picture of something in your stash and tell me why it was that you bought it in the first place, what attracted you to it. Have you used it? What were you planning to do with it? And do you still do it? And that's all I ask. So once again, thank you, Carol, for your submission. So the seal has been broken, so to speak. I've had several people send me what's twisting their seams, pictures of, fabric they may have bought some time ago, buried in their stash, forgot all about it, and are looking at it with new eyes now. Well, if you would like to do that, and I would hope you would, send me one picture of a fabric or a couple of fabrics that, you bought at one time for one reason, but now you're looking at it and you have a different, maybe a love-hate relationship with it or something like that, or it's just absolutely yuck, or you forgot you had it and it's beautiful and you want to make something with it now. And that's what I need you to tell me. So tell me when you send me that picture, please, very short, just 3 sentences really, complete sentences too. I was an English teacher. So first one is, what attracted you to this particular piece of fabric when you bought it? 2, have you used it or have you not? What did you use it for, or why haven't you used it yet? And 3, do you still love it? Do you still love it or not? And why is that? Why has your opinion changed? That's all I need. Okay, and I'll be happy to put it up here during this segment of what's twisting my seams. Okay, so that brings me to what am I working on right now, and I have been working on this, that, and other things. So again, the title, Bits and Pieces. So what am I working on this week? Well, let's start over here at what I call the project table, which you can see has a lot of projects. These are fabrics set aside for another Quilt of Valor project. I did start working on this. It's a little early for Halloween, but can you ever be that early? And there's one of the pieces there. This is going to take a while. It's a table topper. I have an advanced Christmas project that I set aside last year, and it is gnomes. And yeah, I have the pieces sort of cut, and I've had them cut for a long, long time. But I put it out here because before it was on a shelf, out of sight, out of mind. Don't know what I was going to do with it. I've got another Sweet Pea bag project here that I want to do, Beach Hut, soon. And there's miscellaneous projects in there as well as these applique across Canada that I dug out of my stash of things. And yeah, I want to do these too. Here's one that I did a long time ago, the first one. And it's just stuck down. It's not sewn. So I need to do that someday. That might be a palette cleanser kind of project. On the wall, I have got the beginnings of my sister's quilt. I've cut all the pieces. I've made all the half square triangles. Now I'm just putting the rows together, going together pretty quick. I'm debating whether I'm going to write this one up as a pattern. It's pretty simple. It's just half square triangles and squares, but we'll see about that. That may be a project in the future. And I have all her stuff organized here into this plastic bin, and you can see more pieces out. Got to get back to work on that. Out in the Lucy room, I've got a couple of quilts, a Quilt of Valor one especially that I need to get quilted. And I always hesitate because I never know what mood Lucy's going to be in and what mood I'll be in by the time I'm done with it. Moving on to the 3D printers, as you know, I picked up another Bamboo X1 Carbon, and it's right over here working away. I just finished setting up my AMS riser on here and the new AMS2 Pro box. This is their latest version of this, and so far I'm loving it. And I installed anti-vibration feet down here because these came with as a special freebie. And so I'm trying them out. I have them on that one. They're easy to install. This one I'm using a yoga mat. I bought it at the dollar store that I've cut into 2 pieces. And that seems to be working fine for this one over here. And I think I'll just leave this. And maybe over time I will change to the anti-vibration feet. In here, you can see these little blue boxes. These are filled with that moisture stuff, desiccant. And I got a hydrometer. This was also a freebie that came with the kit. And I just got this going half an hour ago, and it was at 58% humidity. It's dropping to 47% humidity. You want to keep your filament dry. That's not really a problem for me in this environment we're in because it's not always that humid, but I'm giving it a shot to see how these work out. And if they're working out okay in here, I'll make another set and maybe order another, these little hydrometer things. These are really cheap on Bamboo's site. And I'm debating whether I should order some more filament. I'm really loving their dual colored filament. So yeah, I might just do that maybe after I'm finished recording this. So those are various things I've been working on. Always busy, and sometimes I get a little overwhelmed with what I have to do, but you know, keeps me off the streets. And that brings me to this week's review of an online quilt store, and this one is called Thimble Quilts and Sewing Company. This week's online quilt store is called Thimble Quilts and Sewing Company, and they're located in LaSalle, Ontario, and this is their front page, so let's take a look. They are a Escovara Viking dealer, and here's some samples of what they have in stock. I don't know if these are new arrivals or what, but gives you some idea of what you may find once you delve into the store. Their address, which as I said is in LaSalle, Ontario. And they have their hours located on here as well. Interesting, they're open on Mondays. A lot of quilt stores are closed on Mondays, but they're open from Monday to Saturday, although Saturday is very limited hours, and closed on Sundays. And they have a contact page as well if you need to type a message to them. They also have a Let's Chat. I imagine an AI kind of help. Okay, so this is their homepage. Let's pop up into fabrics and see what they offer. So here we go. They sell in meters, and the price that you see here is for 1 meter. I don't know if they sell smaller amounts or not. $19.95. That's an okay price. It's kind of dead center in the spread of prices for fabric, and it looks like most of their fabrics are that price. Let's go a little further. And this is interesting. Canadian dollars, $19.95 per 19.95 meters. Where it said 1 meter up there. I have a feeling there's a little problem here on the website with that information because that does not make any sense whatsoever. So, I mean, if it did, wow, $20 for almost 20 meters of fabric? Yeah, I don't think that's correct. They do have a few things that are a little lower than that price as well. And do they have a way of finding something specifically? A lot of interesting fabric, however. Well, let's see. How is this organized? I went up to fabrics. No, it looks like this is a very basic website. It looks like you have to just keep scrolling through to find anything specific. Do they have a search bar? Nope, they don't have a search bar either. So that does not make life very easy. And for me, I'm a lazy person. I like things to be well organized so I can find them. I don't feel that it is worth me spending hours going through page after page after page of fabrics. In fact, there's no indication as to how many fabrics they have either. So this is just a little too basic for my liking. Prices aren't bad, but yeah, if I have to spend a lot of time scrolling through, I'm not interested. Now, some people are. Some people like to have a cup of coffee and, you know, casually browse through a website's selections. I am not one of those people. So if you are, you're going to love this. Okay, something called Gallery. And I am not really sure what a gallery is. I thought it would be a series of pictures. It looks more like, okay, it's a picture. Okay, I guess it looks like it might be, I really don't know. Pictures maybe people have sent in and shown of their creations. Embroidery Club. Again, this does not, maybe I'm a little obtuse, but this is not, I don't understand what this is. A binding class. Is it a class? No, it is not a class. Okay, get out of that. I'm really not sure what this is all about. Okay. I guess it's just people showing what they've been doing. I don't know. All right, do they have classes? They do not, it seems. They have a gift card. Okay, so in different denominations. What's under more? Okay, so they have Escovara Viking. Okay, they don't show pictures of these machines. They just say buy now and describe it. Okay, so yeah, very basic website. Designer Epic 3. Okay, here we have a picture. Looks like it's an embroidery machine, combination embroidery. I'm not familiar with Escovaras as far as what they have. A Brilliant 75Q. I have heard of that. Pictures are not very good. They're not very clear. They don't show you the whole machine. This doesn't impress me. They do have Longarm Quilting services. Okay, prices start at 2 cents per square inch. So I guess it says call or stop in for a free quote and discuss your quilting needs. Okay. What else do they have here? They have classes. Okay, let's take a look at that. Springflower piecing. Easy does it bag. Their pictures are very poorly taken of many of these things. They're very blurry, which doesn't impress me much as to I want to see what the project's going to be if I'm going to invest in the class. And these pictures are not doing it for me whatsoever. Too pixelated. I don't know what they've been using for a camera. Okay, they have a bunch of classes though. It doesn't say that they're online or in person. Classes all seem to be about the same price, $35 materials. Okay, and that's all we have for details. Well, how do you sign up for a class? There's nothing to click. So I guess you have to call them and to find out more or go into the store. They have a beginner quilting. Again, same thing. They tell you the price, but I guess you have to give them a call. They have the number down here. Okay. Coming soon. Okay, so they show some pictures. No description, just pictures. Okay, well, that's all they have to offer here, I can see. So let's go back to the home page. I'm a little underwhelmed by this. I had hoped for it when I saw the price of the fabric. Oh, the other thing is I have no idea what they charge for shipping. There is nothing. Is there something at the bottom of the page? Nope. So again, I guess you find that out once you have put in an order. Can you put in an order? There is a good question. Quick view. Oh yeah, I can. More details. More details, just give me a picture. That's it. So yeah, I guess you find out about shipping when you check out, or you have to give them a call, or just walk into the store. Okay, so I'm not impressed by their website design, and really you need to have a well-organized website with good, clear pictures of your products to attract an audience. I mean, that's just a given since many quilt stores are online today. It's just the way to do business. Prices are not bad, but I would have liked to have had them been upfront about shipping, which makes me hesitate to order anything from them because I'm not sure if I get my cart full of stuff, whether I'm going to get any. There's a limit to when I can stop paying shipping, or do they do it by Canada Post or by courier? I don't know that. I have no indication as to exactly how I would sign up for a class. I guess I have to call them. Yeah, for all those reasons, I'm going to give Thimble Quilts and Sewing Company, their online store, a 5 out of 10. So that brings me to the end of this episode of The Idiot Quilter. I want to wish all my American subscribers a happy 4th of July, and I hope it is good for you because so far this year has sucked for all of us, for Americans, for Canadians, and we know why it sucks, don't we? So I hope you have at least one day where you can forget about all the politics and all the shit that's going on in from that great orange pumpkin and just have a nice day with your family, a barbecue, a party, whatever. I hope it's a good one. Okay, so again, just a reminder that we're coming up soon to July the 12th, Saturday, July the 12th, for the Stephen's Birthday Bash Pop-Up Sew Day. Next week, there will be more details about that, and there will be, most importantly, the Zoom link for it as well. So in the meantime, I hope you have a great week and a great weekend, and we'll see you soon. Bye for now.